Most people think they're bad at saving because life got expensive. And sure, life did get expensive. But for a lot of people, that's not the full story. The real problem is uglier than that. Your paycheck isn't just paying for your life anymore. It's paying for a bunch of tiny monthly charges that moved in quietly, made themselves comfortable, and now act like they own the place. You know the feeling. Payday hits. For a few minutes, you feel relieved. You check your bank app and think, okay, I'm good. Then the charges start rolling in. Music, streaming, cloud storage, a grocery membership, a fitness app, Prime, a meal app, a premium version of something you downloaded during one productive week in February and never touched again. None of them look scary. That's the trick. They don't hit like rent. They don't hit like a car payment. They just sit there in the background, quietly shaving money off your life. And that's why this gets people. Not because one subscription is huge. Because 10 or 15 of them together start acting like a second utility bill. Here's the crazy part. Most people don't even know what they're spending. In AC Plus, our research survey, people guessed they spent about $86 a month on subscriptions. Once they actually added everything up, the real number was $219. That's not being a little off. That's living in a completely different financial reality than the one you think you're in. And once you see that number, a lot of other things start making sense. Why your paycheck disappears so fast. Why saving feels weirdly hard even when you're not doing anything wild. Why every month feels close. Not disaster level broke. Just stuck. Employed. Responsible. Still somehow behind. Let's make this real. Meet Marcus. He's 34, lives outside Atlanta, works in operations for a logistics company, makes about $78,000 a year, and on paper he looks fine. Not rich, not struggling, just normal middle class. He has a decent job. He pays his bills on time. He's not buying Rolexes. He's not gambling on crypto. He's not doing anything that looks obviously stupid. But every month he has the same thought. How am I making decent money and still feeling like I'm barely staying ahead? His rent is $1,850. Car payment is $410. Insurance is $165. Utilities and internet are around $240. Groceries are about $500. Gas is $180. Student loan minimum is $220. Already, that's a real budget. Already, most of his income has a job. Then come the subscriptions. Netflix, Disney Bundle, Spotify, YouTube Premium, cloud storage, a budgeting app, a fitness app, Microsoft 365, Amazon Prime, an MLB package, a grocery delivery membership, a security software renewal, an AI tool, a couple of app subscriptions he doesn't even think about anymore. Together, they're over $260 a month. Now look, $260 a month is not the only reason Marcus feels squeezed. Housing is expensive. Cars are expensive. Insurance is expensive. That part is real. But this is the part nobody talks about. Subscriptions pile on top of an already stressed budget. They live in the exact space where your breathing room should be. That's the reveal. Subscriptions are not just eating entertainment money. They're crowding out resilience. That's why this matters. Because when people hear subscriptions, they think, okay, maybe I'm wasting $30 on streaming. No. The real cost is what that money was supposed to become. Emergency savings. Margin. The ability to handle one bad week without reaching for a credit card. The reason this hurts is not just what you spend. It's what you lose the chance to build. And here's why the trap works so well. Your brain treats big bills and small bills vary differently. If someone asked you to approve one giant $260 charge every single month for a pile of half-used digital services, you'd probably stop and think. Maybe even laugh. Maybe say no. But if those same charges come through as $7.99, $11.99, $19.99, and $22, your brain barely reacts. That's not because you're careless. It's because your brain is built to ignore low-friction damage. Subscription companies understand that better than you do. They don't need you to be excited forever. They just need you to stay busy. They don't need you to love the service every month. They just need you to forget about it. That's the whole model. Get into the budget quietly. Stay there quietly. Grow quietly. And once enough of these little charges stack up, something weird happens. You start feeling like your income should be enough, but somehow it never is. That feeling is what makes this system so effective. It keeps people confused. And confused people don't fix the real problem. They just tell themselves they need to make more money. Sometimes that's true. But a lot of the time, the first problem isn't income. It's leakage. And this is where it stops being convenience and starts being debt pressure. Because subscriptions don't hit when life is going well. They hit every month. Good month, bad month, doesn't matter. They hit when your car needs brakes. They hit when your electric bill spikes. They hit in December when gifts pile up. They hit after a medical bill. They hit while you're stressed, tired, and promising yourself you'll deal with your money next month. Marcus found that out the hard way. One month, his SUV needed new brakes and tires at the same time. Total bill, $1,480. He had about $600 in savings. So the rest went on a credit card. And while that was happening, every subscription on his account still went through right on schedule. Streaming didn't care. The cloud plan didn't care. The meal app didn't care. The annual renewal he forgot about definitely didn't care. That's when a lot of people realize the problem. Not when things are calm. When something breaks. Because in a tight financial life, every recurring charge is competing with your emergency fund. Every one of them is saying, "Pay me first." And that wouldn't be such a big deal if Americans had tons of cash sitting around. But they don't. Federal Reserve data showed only 63% of adults said they could cover a $400 emergency expense with cash, savings, or a credit card paid off at the next statement. Bankrate also found that 59% of Americans didn't have enough savings to cover a $1,000 surprise expense. So when your budget is already fragile, background charges stop being harmless. They start becoming the reason you stay fragile. Now the math gets ugly. Let's say your subscriptions total $220 a month. That's $2,640 a year. Over 5 years, that's $13,200 gone. And that's if prices never rise, which they always do. If that same $220 a month got redirected into savings or investing instead, now we're talking about real money. Over time, that's the kind of cash that changes how secure you feel. Not because it makes you rich overnight. Because it gives you options. And options are what most people are actually missing. That's why this topic hits so hard. People don't just want more money. They want less pressure. They want one bad month to stop becoming 3 bad months. They want to stop feeling like every inconvenience turns into debt. Subscriptions quietly steal that. Now, I want to be fair here. Not every subscription is dumb. Some are worth every dollar. A music service you use daily? Fine. Cloud storage for your business or family photos? Fine. One streaming service you genuinely use all the time? Fine. A tool that helps you make money? Great. This is not about canceling everything fun in your life. It's about waking up and realizing modern life turned a bunch of optional services into automatic bills. That's different. We used to buy things. Now we rent access to everything. Music, movies, software, shipping, workouts, recipes, even simple convenience. And because the price is broken into little pieces, it feels harmless. But harmless is not the same as cheap. And cheap is not the same as worth it. Here's another part nobody talks about. A lot of subscriptions are not really about the thing itself. They're about the version of you that signed up. The fitness app is for the healthier you. The budgeting app is for the organized you. The meal plan is for the disciplined you. The premium productivity app is for the focused you. The language app is for the future you who finally gets serious. That's why people keep paying for things they barely use. Canceling doesn't just feel like removing a charge. It feels like admitting you're not becoming that person right now. That is such a powerful trap. Because now you're not just paying for a service. You're paying to keep a self-image alive. And look, everybody does this. This is normal. This is human. But once you realize it, you start seeing your subscriptions differently. Some of them are tools. Some of them are entertainment. And some of them are just guilt with a monthly billing cycle. That shift matters. Because once you stop seeing all subscriptions as equally valid, the cleanup gets much easier. Here's a simple test. If this service were canceled today, would you rebuy it this month at the current price? Not. Maybe. Not. Eventually. Not. I should probably use it more. Would you actually buy it again this month on purpose? If the answer is no, that subscription is living in your budget rent-free. And here's what makes this even worse. It's usually not one category. It's the pileup. Streaming plus convenience plus productivity plus random annual renewals plus one or two charges you forgot existed. That mixed pile is what gets people. Not the obvious stuff. The scattered stuff. So if you want to fix this, don't start by asking, what should I cancel? Start by asking, what is recurring? That's the first move. Go through the last 3 months of your bank and credit card statements. Not 1 month. 3. 1 month can hide things. 3 months shows the pattern. Highlight every recurring charge. Monthly, quarterly, annual, all of it. Then convert the annual charges into monthly numbers. That $120 renewal is not just once a year. It's a $10 monthly bill wearing a disguise. Then sort everything into simple groups. Entertainment, convenience, productivity, and fantasy self. That last category matters more than people think. Now here's your first pattern interrupt. Don't decide emotionally. Decide by behavior. Ask 4 questions. Do I use this every week? Does this save me serious time? Does this help me earn money? Would I buy it again right now? If the answer is no to all 4, that charge has no business in your monthly life. Marcus did this and found $287 a month. Not because he was reckless. Because he was normal. He had too many half decisions sitting on autopay. 3 streaming services he rotated badly. 2 apps he forgot about. A duplicate storage plan. A premium membership for a store he barely used. A free trial that wasn't free anymore. A couple of services he liked in theory more than in practice. He canceled some. Downgraded some. Kept the ones he actually used. And just like that, he freed up almost $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year. That's not small money. That's emergency fund money. That's debt payoff money. That's car repair without panic money. That's the difference between always feeling close to the edge and finally having a little room. But honestly, the best thing he got back wasn't just money. It was clarity. And clarity is huge in personal finance. Because when your money feels messy, your whole life feels heavier. You start blaming yourself. You start thinking you're lazy, bad with money, behind, undisciplined. But sometimes the real problem is simpler than that. Your budget got crowded. Quietly, gradually, one low-stakes decision at a time. And once you clear out the background noise, progress gets easier. Not easy. Easier. That's a big difference. You don't need a perfect budget. You don't need to cancel every joy in your life. You don't need to optimize every dollar like a robot. You just need to stop paying for convenience you don't really use, entertainment you barely notice, and self-improvement tools that turn into guilt subscriptions. Because this is the real danger of the subscription economy. It doesn't make you feel broke all at once. It makes you feel broke slowly. It creates a life where your paycheck lands, gets sliced up, and disappears before you had a chance to make a real decision with it. It teaches you to accept permanent background spending as normal. It turns your financial life into a bunch of tiny obligations you stopped questioning. And over time, that does something to people. It makes them think this is just adulthood. It makes them think being financially tight is normal forever. It makes them think the answer is always more income, never less waste. It makes them forget what margin feels like. But margin is the whole game. Margin is what lets you breathe. Margin is what keeps an emergency from becoming debt. Margin is what makes saving possible. Margin is what lets your paycheck actually move your life forward. And subscriptions, when left unchecked, eat that margin first. So no, I'm not saying one streaming service is ruining your future. That's too simple. I'm saying the subscription economy trains people to stop noticing how much of their money is already spoken for. And once enough of your income is gone before you even think about it, financial progress starts feeling impossible. That's why this matters. Not because subscriptions are evil. Not because you're irresponsible. Not because every recurring bill is a mistake. It matters because quiet spending is still spending. And when your financial life is already stretched, quiet spending becomes loud consequences. So here's the rule I'd remember. Every subscription has to earn its spot every month. It should either save you real time, help you make money, or be something you clearly use enough that you'd happily buy it again today. If it doesn't do one of those things, it's probably not a tool anymore. It's just drift. And drift is expensive. That's how people wake up one day making decent money and still wondering why they can't get ahead. Not because they made one huge, stupid choice. Because they stopped questioning the small ones. So take an hour. Pull up your statements. Find the repeats. Add up the real number. Not the number you guess. The real number. Because that number tells a story. It tells you how much of your life is running on autopay. It tells you how much comfort is real and how much is just habit. And it tells you how much money you might be able to win back without earning a single dollar more. That's the good news here. You may not be as stuck as you think. You may just be oversubscribed. And once you fix that, your paycheck stops feeling so small. Your budget stops feeling so tight. And for the first time in a while, your money starts acting like it belongs to you again.